everybody, welcome to my project. Today is a beach scene in digital mixed media. And today we are starting off with a few reference photos of a scene that I would like to create. To be honest, the past 2 months we've been quarantined at home. So it's really given me some time to think about where I'd rather be right now. To be honest, who doesn't want to go out on vacation while they have the time? And with the warmer weather coming up, it made me think of beach scenes and tropical getaways. So I thought I'd create my own vacation spot. You can see that this vacation spot features a few palm trees, and I thought I'd put in some lounge chairs just overlooking the ocean view, and I'm starting out with a pencil brush, um, which defaults to the black color ink, but it's supposed to replicate a pencil, and I'm just going over the details. And then I wanted to create a new layer since I drew the original drawing on the canvas. I'm redrawing everything with a brown color now to be on a different layer so that I can see what I'm still drawing or coloring as I'm going along. So here's me just redrawing everything with the brown color, and it's getting a little hard to see where I've drawn the original and where I've redrawn it with brown, but I'm doing my best and just seeing what I can do. And here I go blanking out the canvas so that I can see what I'm missing from the original picture. And now that I've got the rough sketch done, I'm going to start with the background. So I'm starting off with the sky color. It's this brilliant, like almost sapphire, like blue color. And as I was doing this, I was going, oh my gosh, is the blue too dark? But if you look at the photos, it is quite dark to start with. It's just the contrast of the clouds to the sky that makes it look brighter, as well as the color of the ocean. So here I am just trying to blend in the three colors I've started off with first, which was a dark blue, a medium blue, and a white. And I'm just blending it in, kind of making it look like the sky. And then I figured I'd just work with the ocean, and all of these colors are on a new layer. So it's on top of the canvas layer, but under the brown sketch layer. And I'm just trying to grab the colors from the photos for the ocean. I'm just using all three pictures as reference, just to see if I can get the coloring right. And using the eyedropper tool has been making it faster to get the coloring right. So far, the ocean does not quite look like what I need it to look. However, I'm getting there. I noticed in the photos, all three photos, if you look at the horizon, the ocean actually creates this dark outline in the distance, so that's kind of helping to delineate the sky, or differentiate, sorry, differentiate the sky from the ocean. And I'm just working in the colors a bit more, and I was never very good at drawing water, but I'm trying hard this time. Trying to give it some more attention and working out on the colors. I want to blend in the colors a bit, but not without losing the definition of the different color areas. So I've pretty much got it to where I need it to be, and then there's no real outline really to where the water and the sand starts, just because it is it looks more like a Caribbean or tropical location. The waters there tend to be much more clear than on the east coast or west coast of the US, where the water can be pretty brown or green, depending on which coast. So the water in tropical areas do tend to be a lot more clear. But I did notice there's like a faint outline of this grayish color where the water meets the beach. I'm just trying to do that very lightly without creating an outline. There we go. And you can see I keep blinking on and off the brown colored sketch marks I made. And again, that's why I put it on a separate layer. It's so that I can see where things need to be, but I can color under the brown color. So I decided to work on the clouds first, just because quite frequently that's the last thing I remember to do on most of my paintings. So I thought I'd start off with that, and here I'm using a white hard pastel, and that just creates some texture on the paper. And now I'm working on some far off distant tree grove. I'm starting off with a medium green color. And again, this is again in hard pastel, so it's just working with a medium color and then going into the darks and the lights as detail. And then we've got the little tree trunks also. So this, once I started doing these tree trunks, that is where I started running into a little trouble with the color pencil color. For some reason, it would only do the dark color, and I couldn't get the lighter colors to really show up. So I figured while I have the dark color, I might as well do the dark color stuff and do the undertones. But not being able to do the highlights was becoming a problem. So eventually I solved that issue just by creating a new layer where I could put the lighter colors on top of the darker colors and not run into the issue. But as you can see, I'm putting in more colors and flashing in the brown sketch off and on again. And there we go with the highlights. So it's starting to look like the far off forest. It still needs a little work, I think, but I think that's just because of the weird brown sketch above it. But I decided to work on the palm trees for a bit, and this was actually a very interesting effect that I was getting from the color pencils. For some reason, on the point where I start drawing with the color pencil, it would create this weird light color. So I had to work with that, and then again it wasn't showing the lighter colors on top of the darker colors, so I had to create another layer just to show the highlights again. You can see I just keep going back and forth, and meanwhile I'm using the reference photos just to see where lighting goes on palm trees and how it gets reflected. So in this case, the sun should be coming from the upper right corner. However, I've noticed in a lot of pictures that the underside of the palm trees is what usually gets highlighted, just because it's the light reflected off of the beach. So I try to really take my time and work on the details of these palm trees, just because that is a habit of mine, just skimming over details. So I wanted to try to make these as lifelike as possible without wearing my patience too thin. Now, as I kept working on these, to me it didn't look right, but then I realized I need to zoom out of the picture and just realize exactly how small these palm trees are relative to the size of the picture. So that just kind of made me realize, okay, they look fine. So I moved on to the leafy parts. And again, I'm just starting off with a darker tone, and then I'll add the lighter tones as I go along. But turns out palm trees are pretty fun to draw. You just have to have some patience. And as these palm trees are getting finished, I decide to tackle the big one right in the bottom left corner. So I again start off with a medium tone, and I'm painting under the brown sketch again. And I find that in a lot of these tropical places, not that I've traveled extensively, but the few times I've gone to where palm trees are, I actually don't see coconuts on them. don't know if that's a different kind of tree. I was pretty sure coconuts came from palm trees, but I guess I'd have to look into it. So what I'm doing now is adding some darks and then even darker colors just to give it some definition. And it's coming out better than I thought. And I keep having trouble realizing the perspective of what I'm drawing on. So quite frequently you'll see me draw a branch halfway through and then realize like, oh, that's not the end of the picture. I have to scroll up. So that was interesting as well. And so far this looks like Jack Skellington's hand from Nightmare Before Christmas, but I swear these will start to look like palm branches. So since this palm tree is a bit more up close, getting the darks and the highlights is more prominent. And you can see I'm starting off with a pretty dark color. I mean, when you think of palm trees, you associate it with like green leaves and brown trunk. But when you actually look at photos, you know, tree trunks are actually not brown. They're more of a grayish color with brown undertones, but they do tend to be more gray. And looking at these photos, you know, only the distant palm trees seem to be more green. It's the closer ones that tend to be more dark green. So I think that's got to do with the way we perceive light and whatnot. This palm tree up close shouldn't be all one color leaf. So here I am starting off with some lighter greens now. And again, the color pencil is doing that funny thing where it's starting off light at the beginning of the stroke, but I'm working with it and adding some highlights. And as I'm coming to an end with this palm tree and getting in some of the details like the shading of the distant palm trees now, I'm debating whether I really want to draw those lounge chairs or not. And they just keep haunting my vision of this beach, but ultimately I decide not to put them in. The beach scene just looks more peaceful that way, and that's really what I envision my vacation spot to look like. And I'm just giving some definition to the sand right now, but I get a little overzealous with the markings, so I decide rather than deleting them, I'll just blend them in a bit to give the sand some definition. Even with the blending though, it just looks a little monotone. So eventually I do add some coloring into the sand just to give it a little bit more depth. And by now I've made peace with the fact that I'm not drawing in those lounge chairs. Who needs lounge chairs anyway? You got a beautiful beach. So there we have it. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed what you were watching, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.